As lovely as the aerial version of this map is, I'd like it to look more like a road map, so customers can see the streets and know better how to get to the store. I'd also like to adjust the zoom level of this map so we're a little closer to the actual location, and make a couple other refinements. To do this, we're going to continue with the sort of study skills portion of coping with APIs, reading the documentation together, but also use the API to help us figure out what the zoom level should be. We'll start out by changing the type of the map. Of course, I can do that here, but I want this to load with the right version set. And looking at my code, it looks like the map type ID is what I need to change. But what's the value that I want to set? We need to read the documentation to find that out. So back here on the Bing documentation site, I could search or try and filter by title over here. But most of the time when you need to look through the configuration for different parts of an API, you're going to want something that's usually called a reference. And I can see there's a map control API reference here. Scrolling down, here's a map type ID. Let's confirm. Yeah, map type ID. That's what we want to set. So what we're looking for is probably going to be on that documentation page. So let's try it. Map type ID. And here they are. Aerial, canvas dark, canvas light, bird's eye, a whole bunch of stuff here. Oh, and road. Yeah, I think road is what we're going to want for this version. So I will put road in here instead. And we'll reload this map. Great. Now we have the roads. The next thing I want to do is configure the zoom just the way I'd like it. So let's see. Zoom in a few levels here. This level looks pretty good to me. But what level is it? We can ask the map to tell us. So I'm going to open up my developer tools and switch to the JavaScript console, clear out all these messages. Now, as I recall, I set a variable for this map called map. So let's see if we can see that here. Indeed, we cannot, because this map is defined inside our initMap function. I need a reference to this in the global namespace so I can play with it in the JavaScript console. So I'm going to move this up here and then reset it to the map inside the initMap function. Now we'll save this, come back here and refresh. I'm going to need to reset my zoom level to where I had it before. I'll just go in a few steps here. We'll try this. Open that console back up again, clear the messages. And now map is in the global namespace, which means that I can start to play with the API from here. If I type a dot, now I can see there's a whole bunch going on here, including a bunch of methods that look useful. And one of them is getZoom. Let's try that. All right, my zoom level is currently 14. So if I want the map to load in the way that I've just configured manually by playing around with those buttons, I can ask the map using its own API to tell me its current configuration, and then set the configuration here so it will load that way by default. Close these tools, reload, and there we are again. Great. Currently, I can also drag this map around, and if I use my scroll wheel, we start to zoom in and out. I'd like to disable both those features, just so we stay right where we are, and this map is always just loading the store. I'm going to need a little help to do that. I can see here there's a map class and a map options object. The configuration for this map is an object, so I'm going to bet that that map options reference page is what I want. Yep, I can see credentials, which I'm using already. There's a whole bunch of stuff here, including disable zooming. That disable zooming looks promising, but what I really want to do is disable the scroll wheel version of zooming. So scrolling up here, I can see, ooh, yeah, disable scroll wheel zoom. Perfect. So I'll bring that over here. And I do want to disable the scroll wheel zoom, so I'll set that to true. Now I need to disable dragging on the map. So I'm going to do an on-page search for drag down here in the search bar, and nothing is coming up. Well, I'll go back to that disable section, all those keys that start with disable, and see what we get. Bird's eye, keyboard input, panning. There we go. That is another word for moving the map around. So I think that's what we want. Let's try it. Disable panning, we'll set that to true, and save this again. Switch over to the browser and refresh. There we go. The map no longer moves, and my scroll wheel will scroll the page instead of the map, but I can still zoom in a little closer if I want to, or a little further away if I want to. So I'm still maintaining some usability of this map and the ability of my customers to figure out where, in context, my store is. So we've got this map pretty well dialed in. We can't actually see the store on here, so we're going to deal with that next.